Today we're going to talk about the top 3 builds for gen rushing in Dead by Daylight. Why gen rush? Well, at the end of the day, doing gens is literally the only objective in Dead by Daylight to finish all 5 gens, to unlock the exit gates so you can quote unquote escape. Everything else is optional. Now, I'm not saying other things aren't good. Looping the killer and looping the killer for quite a bit of time to give your teammates time to do gens, very important, very important. But if I catch you looting chests or munching totems and not doing the objective, well, you are going to be very likely to lose a lot more games than you should normally. So for you totem munchers out there, not calling anybody out, definitely not calling anybody out. Josie. Anyways, guys, let's get into the build, shall we? The first build on our gen rush builds is actually going to be the least gen rushy of them all, but still has a lot of potential to do gens really quickly. Let me explain. This is going to be the balanced gen rushing build. It all starts with Prove Thyself, which is still actually amazing. Sure, it got a nerf. It's 10% instead of 15%, and you don't get the blood points, but 10% still feels really good. And honestly, if you do the math, I think the nerf only took off like a couple seconds from this perk. So it's still a really good perk when you're doing gens with other teammates. Highly recommend it, a solid staple in this build, but here's where this build gets better. We use Deja Vu. This reveals the aura of the 3 generators that are closest together to you permanently. Whenever you do those gens, you will work on them 6% quicker. So this is a permanent 6% repair speed bonus to the gens that are closest together. If you do those gens and always prioritize the Deja Vu gens, you will prevent yourself from getting 3 gens in the end game, which is amazing. This perk takes the guesswork out of it. This lets you do the gens that are closest together quicker. If you have Prove Thyself with Deja Vu, you're doing gens 16% quicker, which is great, guys. And doing this will make sure that you don't have those weird end games where all the last 3 gens are together, because you always know where they're at. Takes the guesswork out of it. You will win a lot more games just by equipping this perk. 10 out of 10, cannot recommend it enough. And here's where this build gets good and why this is the balanced gen rushing build, because we're using Resilience with Made for this. Resilience, if you don't know, when you're injured, you're 9% better than everybody else, which means you will do repairing, saboing, healing, unhooking, cleansing, gens, totems, 9% quicker. So if you're injured with this build, guys, now remember, we're doing gen 6% quicker with Deja Vu. And we have Prove Thyself. If we're with a teammate, we get that extra 10% bonus, but with Resilience, we get 9% on top of that. So when you're injured with this build, because you have Resilience and because you have Deja Vu, whenever you work on the Deja Vu gens, you're doing them 15% quicker, which actually feels really, really good. Try it out. Trust me, you're gonna really enjoy how good Resilience and Deja Vu feels when you are injured. Also, Prove Thyself, 10% on top of that if you're with the teammates, so 25% bonus to your gens. You will be popping them like nobody's business. The last perk in this build is actually Made for this, which has nothing to do with gens, but that's why this is the balanced gen rushing build, because you are going to be doing gens injured a lot of the time. Made for this is just a solid choice for you. You run 3% quicker, you heal another survivor, you get endurance for 10 seconds. Made for this just really stacks well with Resilience, so that way you still have a solid chase potential with this build. So this build is great for doing gens, getting the objective done, but also you're not completely useless when it comes to chase, because you have Made for this and Resilience. Remember, Resilience lets you vault 9% quicker, Made for this lets you run 3% quicker. Solid build overall. So items I would recommend with this. If you want to go full in on the gen rushing, I would recommend using a Commodious toolbox. Throw on a couple add-ons, a little wire spool and some scraps, and you're all set. Probably the best toolbox in my opinion for gen rushing, or just in general. The Commodious toolbox is really good. But with this build, you have some flexibility. You can also use a medkit, guys, which I would really recommend. You do a medkit with like a gel dressing and some bandages. You get 2 heals out of this. And why you'd want to bring a medkit with a setup like this is because you want to get your Resilience and Made for this value, but you also don't want to just go down in a single hit. So if you get injured, get away from the killer, use the medkit to 99 your health, so that way you still get Resilience and Made for this. You can work on your gens, get your bonus speed with Deja Vu, and if the killer comes, you just top your health off with the medkit. Solid choices all around. Let's go into build number 2. All right, guys, now we're getting into some of the really fun builds, and these next 2 are going to be based around a toolbox, which is the item of choice if you want to rush your gens. Like I said earlier, the Commodious toolbox is the best toolbox. 32 charges, but it will increase your repair speed by 50%. Now, we're gonna use some add-ons. Add-ons, all of these, we're gonna use wire spool. 12 extra charges is going to be vital to getting the most bang for your buck out of this toolbox. For the second add-on, you have a couple of options here. We're going to use the brand new part for this build, but if you don't have it or don't want to use your ultra rare add-on, feel free to use either the socket swivels for 30% extra gen speed or the scraps for 8 extra charges on the toolbox. Both are acceptable, but the brand new part has a fun little synergy with this build that I'm going to talk about here in a little bit. But the brand new part, once you start working on a gen with your toolbox, your brand new part gets used up, you have to hit a difficult skill check, and if you hit it, the generator is permanently going to require 10 less charges to finish the gen, which basically saves you a couple seconds off the gen, which actually feels really good. So here's the thing. Built to last is going to be a staple in these gen rushing builds because when we deplete our toolbox, we can hide in the locker for 12 seconds and get 99% of our charges back the first time. The second time we'll get 66% and the third time 33%. So all in all, because of this perk, we will get to use our toolbox 3 times. Not 1 time, we'll get 3 freaking uses out of this toolbox. Because 99%, 66 plus 33 is also another 99%. So 1, 2 plus the original, that's 3 toolboxes. So basically you'll be set for the game, guys. You'll have these toolboxes, you'll be able to work on gens 50% quicker basically all the damn time, and you can also sabotage hooks, fun fact, if the opportunity arises. But this is where the build gets better, and this is why this is the skill check gen rushing build. We're using Fogwise. When you hit a great skill check, you will see the killer's aura for 6 seconds. So not only is this build great for doing gens quicker, this is also a great build for staying safe and being able to track the killer, assuming it's not a stealth killer, because hitting a great skill check will let you see the killer's aura for 6 seconds, which brings us back to the brand new part, which makes you have to have a great skill check once you start using the toolbox. So this is a really easy way to get vision on the killer at the start of the match. So it's like the survivor version of Lethal Pursuer almost. So you can see what killer you're up against, and then you can track the killer's movements while you're safely working on gens with these next 2 perks. Hyperfocus, like I said, Fogwise, great skill checks. Hyperfocus, after hitting a great skill check, you'll get a token. Up to 6 tokens. Each of these tokens will increase your chances of getting more skill checks by 4%, increase the skill checks cursor speed by 4%, and the bonus you get for great skill checks by 30%. So basically this makes doing gens feel like Las Vegas. It's like doing a slottery machine? No, slot machine, not slottery. There's no slottery here. It's like doing slots in Vegas. So the more great skill checks you hit consecutively, the more likely you will get great skill checks, which is what this build is all about. But also, you'll get a heftier bonus for each consecutive great skill check. So we're already doing the gens quick with the toolboxes. This is just a nice bonus. And also, fun fact if you don't already know, when you repair at an expedited rate with toolboxes in Dead by Daylight, you will get prompted for more skill checks than you normally would, which means more opportunity to hit great skill checks. Now, I know what you're saying, builds. I play on console. Builds, I'm trash. Builds, I'm not good at hitting great skill checks. Well, the last perk has you covered. Stakeout takes all the guesswork out of it. Every 15 seconds, you're within the killer's star radius. You will get a stack of stakeout, up to 4. Each of these stacks will convert a normal skill check to a great skill check for both healing and working on generators. And not only that, you will get an extra 1% bonus to your gen repair progress with stakeout. So guys, easy build. Go up to a gen, dump your toolbox, dump your brand new part, hit as many great skill checks as you can. If you're struggling, no worry. Usually by the time you refill your toolbox, you'll have gotten a couple charges of stakeout. So then next time you go to a gen with your toolbox, you're getting those great skill checks basically guaranteed up to 4 stacks. And if you manage to hit 1 or 2 of those without using your stakeout, then you'll get up to 6. And it feels really, really damn good, guys. This is the be safe, great skill check, gen rushing build, whatever you want to call it. Enjoy it. This is my personal favorite. Last thing I will say, if you don't have built to last, Scavenger is a decent alternative. It's not gonna, Scavenger, where you at, bro? Where you at, bro? Yeah, Scavenger right here. This is the perk on Gabriel Soma. This is a decent alternative because if you get 5 great skill checks, you get your toolbox back. But what I found is built to last tends to be superior in most occasions anyway. So just use built to last. But if you don't have it and still want to play this build and you have Scavenger and not Felix Richter, then just use Scavenger and it'll still be a fun build. And the final gen rushing build, Another built to last build, guys. Again, the Commodious toolbox as we've discussed with the wire spools. And this time we're just using scraps because I'm more concerned with wanting extra charges on this toolbox. Because we are using built to last, which means we'll be able to use this toolbox 3 times as well. But we're also using Streetwise, guys. Don't sleep on Streetwise. Streetwise is really good. The last build was Fogwise. This build is Streetwise because the wise people are going to be doing the gen rushing like you are, my friend. Okay? Yeah. No totem munching. Josie. Streetwise, guys. Reduces the item consumption rate of your items by 25%. Also works to your allies within 8 meters of you, but once they're out of your range, they will only get the effect lingering for 15 seconds, which really isn't an issue because we're mainly using it for ourselves. So this is going to make this toolbox that already lasts a long time, last a really, really long time. And fun fact, Streetwise does stack, so if you have a buddy who wants to actually bring Streetwise in with the toolbox with you, guys, it's going to be insane. You're barely even going to go through your toolboxes. Like if you have 1 or 2 extra Streetwises in a lobby, like these are basically going to last forever. Also, if you have a buddy who wants to bring Prove Thyself for the extra gen speed, that will be even better. But for these next 2 perks, we're actually going to have a little bit of fun. So we've got Streetwise, so our toolboxes last a long time. We've got built to last, so we can keep getting our charges. So we're basically always doing gens 50% quicker. Because we're doing gens quicker, we're going to be comboing it with Wiretap and Blast Mine, so we'll actually get to play around with the killer a little bit. There's a lot of pop in the meta right now. A lot of killers are kicking gens, and this just makes it fun because Wiretap, once you do 50% of a gen, which remember, you're doing gens quicker, so you'll get this perk a lot quicker than you normally would. You can put a Wiretap on your gen, which means for 2 minutes, you'll see the killer's aura within 14 meters of the gen. So if you want to do it to be safe, if you need to go help a teammate, get an unhook, get a rescue, and you don't want your gen getting kicked, you can just drop a Wiretap on it. If you want to make the gen pop up yellow so your teammates know where it's at, or someone else can come finish it if you got to go do something else. Wiretap is just a solid intel perk all around, but when the killer kicks it, you lose your Wiretap. But it's not going to matter because you've got your Blast Mine, which is basically the same. 50% of a gen, you get your Blast Mine, which will last for 2 minutes as well. But when the killer kicks a gen with the Blast Mine on it, they will get stunned and blinded for like 3 or 4 seconds. It's completely hilarious to watch this when it happens. And the best part is because you have vision of the killer with Wiretap, you will always be able to watch it when it happens. Guys, have fun laughing halfway across the map, watching killers kicking your Blast Mine gens. Sure, they'll kick it again and you lose your Wiretap, but it really doesn't matter because you basically have infinite toolbox with this build. So without further ado, guys, if you found value in this video, smash that like button for the algorithm so this video gets sent out for more people to see. Also, leave me a comment and let me know which build you're going to try and what are your favorite gen rushing builds, my friends. Subscribe, likes, usual business. I love you guys. I will see you on the next one. And I'm out. Also, don't totem munch. Bye.